welcome to the Festival of Storytellers.
I can't tell you how excited I am to be on right now. It's been a couple of weeks of excitement, getting prepared, and I've done a lot of things in my life, but this has got to be close to the top.
Thank you, and Reader's Magnet, and thank you, John, for putting this forth and taking the chance on us authors in presenting this out to the world.
I've enjoyed this immensely, Joanne.
Ellie, so have I. Thank you for who you are, and thank you, Reader's Magnet. You all are beautiful, and you've worked so very hard, and we are blessed.
We are.
I thank everybody that's involved with this process, because we know writers need readers and writers need publishers. We thank Reader's Magnet and everybody that's involved. I love Reader's Magnet. They say, we share your stories with the world.
Hello everybody, and thank you for joining me here at the Festival of Storytellers event. Thank you so much for joining me. I know I was here earlier this morning on a certain topic. Today I have something a little bit different, well, this afternoon. Well, also I do want to talk about the sweepstakes that I'm doing, the raffle. So I had a few more people already join, which is awesome. Yay, thank you so much for joining. I'm going to go ahead and show you the book that I will be raffling off, which is, of course, a book of mine. We will have it on November the 17th, all the way through, actually from now through November the 17th is the deadline. November 18th, we will announce the winner. And of course, like I said earlier this morning, just send in your first and last name to my email, which is esuite132@aol.com. Go ahead and do that. Put your first name, last name, and type in the words "enter sweepstakes." Enter sweepstakes. So, actually, from earlier this morning, I already had quite a few people already enter. So you will win. Like I said, you will win a book of mine. I will sign it as well. There's also this cute little tumbler. It's like a gold bling bling. It does have the front of my book, the book cover. So that would be on there. This is cool. You can put anything hot or cold in it. You know, it's a really good cup. So, and it doesn't matter where you live. I will ship it off to whoever the winner is. So guys, there's a couple more days left. What is it, tomorrow? No, tomorrow's the 16th. So the 17th is the deadline. I'm already off on my days. I have so much going on. You should see my table. I have like stuff everywhere. So, yeah, go ahead and send all that in, guys. So like that, I can go ahead and announce the winner on the 18th. So right now, my topic, what I want to talk about, I know some girls had asked me some questions the other day about what do I use and whatnot, you know, to stay looking younger. And like I told everybody, it's, I don't know, I think it's in the genes. If not, it's, you know, working out, eating healthy. I don't eat healthy 24/7, but you know, well, actually, yeah, sometimes 24/7. That sounds funny. But there are days where I will eat something that's not that good, although I don't, it's not like a huge giant plate. Usually I leave stuff left over, whatever's left over, I bring it back home, eat it later, sometimes not until the next day. I hate to see food that's wasted too as well, because there's so many people out there that, you know, don't have anything. And my brothers and I know what it's like to sometimes, you know, eat certain things that they were good to us You know, we loved it as we were growing up, but it was something cheap that you can buy. You know, there's times where it happened to me too, and I barely had any money and my kids were babies and we didn't know what we were gonna eat, and it was like hamburger helper. That's why I can't stand it now. Hamburger helper, or it was chicken and rice, or even just a soup with rice. But, you know, things and times have changed and things have gotten a lot better in my life to where I don't have to eat like that anymore. But I'm kind of thankful that I did go through the struggle, because if push comes to shove and I was ever in that predicament again and I ever had to struggle again, I would know exactly what to do, what to buy, you know, how to cook. I know how to clean. I know how to do all those things. I would know how to take care of my kids. Now, as far as my kids wanting to eat something like that now, I kind of seriously doubt it. But of course, when you ain't got no choice, you ain't got no choice. You know, beggars can't be choosers, like they say. But at least I know. So this goes back to, you know, when I was asked, would you change anything from your past? In that sense, no, you know, because it made me the strong person that I am. And it taught me a lot of great lessons. It taught me how to cook. It taught me how to survive. It taught me how to survive in my life and learn all these good things, and of course, bad things too. But it's similar to, for example, I can say my husband has gone through certain things in his life as well, I can say. And of course I have, you know, there's a book right there, you know, I'm living proof. But as far as saying, you know, to be able to live on the streets and how to do this and how to do that, he wouldn't know how. And I do. And as far as, like I said, the cooking and the eating and all that and fending for yourself and, you know, your kids, you know, I would know what to do. You know, I remember there was a time too that my mom and I and my little brother, my baby brother wasn't born yet, but there was a time my mom and my dad were fighting or whatever, and we got thrown out of our own home and we had no choice but to sleep in the park overnight. And when I talked to her about it the last time, a long time ago, she's like, you remember that? You were too little to remember that. But I don't know, I have a very, very great memory, and I remember so much, so many things, even at the youngest age. And I remember us sleeping on a bench while she stayed awake all night to make sure we were safe. And then the next morning, when my dad was gone to work, we were able to go back home because he was gone, of course, and she had the key. So yeah, I not that I had to do that with my kids, but there was times where it's like, how am I going to pay the rent? How am I going to do this and that? And I got eviction notice before, you know, I didn't know what to do, and it was hard. But my kids didn't suffer. You know, they still had food, they still had stuff. And there was times where I didn't have enough for food, but I would go to my mom's and eat, you know, and there was times even my brother, my sister-in-law would be cooking all the time too. And my sister-in-law, Veronica, so we would eat over there at times. But that didn't last very long. You know, I'm a hard worker. I'm always willing to work, you know, and I don't care what it is that I have to do, but I got to do it. And I'm thankful to say that now I don't have to do things like that. But to have that under my belt means a lot, because it doesn't just mean because I went to college for so many things, I've accomplished so many things. That's not the only thing that you need. You also need a survival guide, and not everybody has that survival guide. Not too many people know the survival mode. They think they do, but you might know how to survive just for a day or two, but to have to survive the rest of your life, let's just say the world was coming to an end and we didn't have electricity. Would you know what to do to live without electricity? Yes, there's candles and there's other ways, but like literally a survival guide on how to live outdoors, or let's just say you lost your home and you have no choice, and there's ways around it. And I don't really take pride in saying that, but the fact that I know what it's like and what I would have to do, I think my family would be okay. Not saying that it's something good that you'd want to go through, but if we had no choice, you know, we'd be okay because, you know, mom is here and I know what to do. You know, I always have things ready and set, and I try to look for ways. I don't just sit there and mope and cry, and complain about how this isn't working for me and this ain't right. You know, I'm one to sit down and do something about it. And I will talk about my problems. I will talk to the other person if I need help, if I need something done, or if there's something I didn't like that you said or did or whatever. The only problem is sometimes people don't always agree with me. And that's fine. I don't care. You don't agree with me. You have your way of living. I have my way of living. But I feel like with me and my kids and my grandkids, my way is right in my home. And if you don't like it, well, sorry. So on another subject, let's switch the subject. So today I want to talk about my stepfather only because I was asked that why was chapter 9, you know, what was the deal with the title? So let's go to chapter 9. I still have a good amount of time so far. Chapter 9. It is called An Untimely End. Now there's a reason for that. Considering the fact of everything that we went through, the abuse, the sexual abuse and all that, the rapes, I called it an untimely end because just out of nowhere, he was gone. And you need to be grateful for life because your life can be taken in an instant. I've had friends commit suicide. Other people as well. I've had family members commit suicide. I've had, you know, there's been murders in the family. There's been just crazy stuff way back then when I was younger, you know, and not too long ago either. But there's a lot of bad things that have happened, you know, and there's good things too. But I can honestly say that I know what it's like for somebody to be taken away in an instant. And then the next thing you know, you're there having to figure out how you're going to get together and what you're going to do as a family to get the money together for a funeral. You know, you're going to do a benefit and all that. And that's another experience that was also brought into my life because, and that's an experience that I can use as well, because I know if something was to ever happen, you know, in my immediate family, my little family, you know, me and my brothers would get together and do what we have to do for my mom, or, you know, God, hope to God, nothing ever happens to any one of us, you know, not anytime soon, because I know we're all here and we're all going to leave this world, but to my kids, my children, my grandkids. So learning that experience or experiences going through that and having to raise money and all that, it wouldn't be a problem because I have no problem asking for help. I don't. I used to, and I had a lot of pride, but I don't have any problems asking for help. Hello, Fairgoer 1756. For how many years have you been suffering in that trauma? When I was younger, up until, gosh, I don't even remember the age, honestly. Maybe in my mid-20s or something like that. You know, probably even later than that. But there wasn't, it was a long time. I went through the depression and everything. And it wasn't that easy. And I guess you can say it went on to, which kind of brings me back to this subject, chapter 9. My stepfather, my kids, I had my son and I already had my daughter at the time. I think my daughter was like a year or 2 years old. So from that time and on, when I moved out when I was 16 years old. And I went back a couple of times because due to failed relationships that I went through, the fathers of my children, that caused me to go back, but only because I had nowhere else to go. And if I did go back, it was for about a week or two. And then the next thing you know, I'd go find my own place, you know, but I was older. My stepfather didn't touch me after that or do anything, but there were times where he wanted to go at me and he wanted to hit me, you know, as far as the sexual part, no. But there was an instant where right before he passed away, he had a 2x4 that fell on his toe. And he was a carpenter, so he would work, you know, come home, and I never felt it. As soon as Friday came home, payday, we already knew what was going to happen. It was time to drink, time to party, time to have everybody over, whatever, drugs and barbecue, whatnot. So one day my mom was really frustrated, and I think they were going to the beach, and it was my mom and everybody was there, and I had showed up just so they can see the kids. So next thing you know, she was all frustrated and she left, and I write about it in chapter 9. And the reason why it's so short is because I didn't want to talk too much about him. And it's not that, there's hate there or whatever. Yeah, I hate him. I hated him for what he did. And I forgave him in my part, but I still don't forgive the fact that he did what he did to my brothers either. And the fact that they're still, going through a hard time talking about it and stuff. So I still feel it too. I feel that. So it's not that easy. And I feel like it's a lot harder for boys, for girls too, I guess for everybody, but still. So anyways, that day I had my son and my daughter, and I remember being in the living room and he was hopping around. And I remember he asked for a glass of tea. And I went into the kitchen, got it for him, came back, and I was getting their stuff ready. My mom was already about to drive out of the driveway. And I don't remember exactly what was said, but I said something back. And my son was right next to, like I mentioned before, the living room was my mom's bedroom. So my son was right there at the corner of the bed, and I was standing next to the bed in the front door. And I had my daughter, and I was carrying her on my side. And I guess he got really ticked off that he was going to come at me. And when he had that look in his face, he was coming at me like if he was going to hurt me. So as soon as that happened and he was coming at me, he just dropped to the ground. It just like came out of nowhere. He just fell and he passed out. And I was like, what the heck? That just like freaked me out. So I ran outside the door with my daughter, and my son started crying because he freaked out. And my mom was already like pulling out of the driveway. So I stopped her and I started screaming at her, told her something was wrong. And I know this sounds ugly, but in my mind, because of the hate that I had towards him, in my mind, I was like, I hope he leaves. Like, I hope he leaves. I hope he's gone. I hope he passes away. Like, I don't want him here anymore. Our lives would be better without him. So he goes into the emergency room. My mom says everything was fine that night. He was talking and whatnot. And then I don't remember if it was in the middle of the night or the next morning. The next thing you know, he was in a coma. Like just like that, out of nowhere. So he ended up being in a coma, and he was in a coma for a couple of days. And the next thing you know, we're at the hospital, and while we are there, we kept hearing code blue, code blue, code blue. And that means, of course, that he's dying. He went out, and his heart went out too. And and this happened like so many times, and my mom was in denial and didn't want to sign the paperwork to let all the machines off because he was on life support. So it was like, how does a 2x4 fall in this toe? And then the next thing you know, he's on life support. And the next thing you know, he's dead. And we're trying to figure out how we're going to do a funeral for him. It's just crazy how life works, doesn't it? It's weird. Myra, hi. Did your husband play a great role for you to recover in that trauma? So, no. My first husband, because I have an ex-husband, my first husband, he was just a jerk. Sorry that I have to talk bad about him, but there wasn't very many good things to say about him. And he, even when my father passed away, my biological father, at the funeral, which was a year after my stepfather passed away, it was crazy. It was like one death after another. He wouldn't even allow me to go to the funeral. He was pretty upset. I don't even know why. He wasn't even upset with me. He was upset with somebody else. Turns out he was with the mother of his sons, and that was just another one. But you have to buy the book because it says everything in there. And in the end, now he's still alive. Doesn't really see his kids, but and he ended up with our best friend, which was her and her husband. And now they're together and they're married, and they've been married for a while now. So that says a lot. But anyways, I don't hold grudges. Hey, that's their life. I moved on. My husband that I have now, he's wonderful. Pain in the butt, and they all are. But they're little flaws that I can deal with. It's everybody's going to have a flaw. There's going to be something wrong with somebody throughout the whole world. You're not going to find somebody that's perfect ever. Never, never, never. We all have our flaws. We all have our problems. We all have our troubles. But I mean, what I can say other than that, he is a good man, even though he can be a pain in the butt, but I can be a pain in the butt too at times. And it's only because I like things a certain way and I feel like my way is the right way. Now, if it's the wrong way, then tell me. But other than that, I'm trying really hard to live the right way. And I have been so far, doing good, and for my kids and for my grandkids, and it's a little hard for him because he has 2 kids. He has a son and a daughter, but he's never been in a relationship where he's been married before too, but he's never been in a relationship where it's the right relationship. And what I mean by that is the right marriage, where you sit down, you talk about your problems, you fix about your problems. You don't just up and run and move out and leave. And you sit down and you work things out. Because if you don't talk about it and you don't work it out and you just take off, well, that says a lot about you as well, and you're going to go say what you want to say to your family, but or friends or whoever, but that's just your side of the story. And there's always 2 sides to the story. But I don't dwell on stuff like that. It's like, whatever, I still got to keep moving forward. I'm not the same woman that I was back then. I'm not going to sit here on the couch and mope and cry and, oh my God, that's not me. We've had our issues, but at the end of the day, he's still my husband. And at the end of the day, he's still a good man. And he's still there. If I tell him I need something, he's there, no matter what. But anyways, on a second note, so like I was saying about my stepfather, he passed away. We had to figure out how we were going to get money together and how to do his funeral. And because of that, when he passed away and after the funeral and the burial and whatnot, my mom kind of went on a binge with alcohol. And that went a little overboard, but then thank God she slowed down and she stopped. And now she's a lot different than she's the mom that I needed back then. And what I can tell others is that it's never too late. She's a lot better than what she used to be. Like I said, we all have our flaws. There's still flaws there, but I can deal with it. I'm a very, very patient person. I might say stuff and get upset, but I'm still a patient person because I'm still around. I still see her. We have breakfast every now and then in the mornings. She goes to church too at times, and things are a lot better. And now when we sit down for breakfast, I can talk to her about anything. I can tell her how I feel and stuff, and she'll talk to me too. So that's a huge step coming from where I came from. That's a huge step coming from the kind of family that we grew up around, the kind of things that we went through, the abuse, everything. Because back then we just held too much in. And now I don't hold anything in. You're going to hear what I'm feeling. You're going to hear everything. And well, if you don't like it, you don't have to listen to me. So, oh well. But I also put it on a book, and I am writing the second book as we speak. I did have an idea, and it's funny because I was speaking to someone earlier, actually Vaughn Solis. I'm going to interview her Saturday at 11 o'clock in the morning, Eastern time. So she was telling me about a child's book, and I had that crossing my mind. So when I hear stuff like that or see stuff like that, we were on Zoom earlier, it makes me feel like that was a sign. And it's like, hey, she was talking about a child's book. I already been thinking about a child's book, and to bring awareness out there. And she's very big on awareness, and so am I. Spreading the word, especially when it comes to kids. And it's already like, I guess you can say it's confirmed. I told myself earlier, you know what, I am going to write a child's book. We needed to teach our kids, because my book is pretty much trying to focus on teenagers and adults. I don't want a little child reading my book, because there are some things in there that they don't need to hear or read, actually. So, and I've had my granddaughter, my grandkids love reading books. And they've asked me, can we read your book? And I'm like, no. So I can go off of them and go off of that, because they're very smart kids, my grandkids, the ones that are in school, my son's kids. And I guess you can say I can use them, for a child's book. So I don't know. We need to teach these kids at a very, very young age how to let somebody know on how to speak up and not to be afraid. You know, you get threatened as a child, just like I got threatened that, you know, my stepfather saying that he was going to snap my mother's neck and he was going to kill her and my brothers. And I truly believed it. I don't know if he wouldn't have or if he would, who knows, but at a young age, you don't want to be hearing things like that. You don't. You get scared. I mean, at that age, you get scared of just a shadow in your bedroom, more or less, you know, an actual adult telling you that they're going to take your life or your family's life. So of course you're going to believe it. So a children's book, having those out there and maybe getting them out to the libraries at the schools and doing speeches at the schools. You know, I was asked to do one at Martin Middle School. I have to actually get with the lady, so I don't even know how soon that will happen or what, because COVID's bouncing around and back and forth. So I'm assuming maybe after everybody has their vaccines. I have no idea. But, you know, hopefully they'll get to me soon. And I wouldn't mind giving a speech. I wouldn't mind going to the school and talking to everybody and, you know, trying to spread the awareness and everything in that. But I feel like it should start in elementary, because I was in elementary, you know, when things started going wrong and the abuse. So to get to children in elementary and write a book, it's going to be a pretty hard journey, because that subject is very, very sensitive. And to write it in a book for a child of that age, let's say fourth grade, maybe even third grade, third, fourth, and fifth grade, in order for them to read it, it's going to be, I don't know, that might be a little hard for me, but I'm willing to take that journey. So here soon, hopefully I'll have a child's book, but I still have the second one to come out. So it's going to be that one. And then after that, or I don't know, maybe both of them at the same time, who knows? But that's actually, I think I've already confirmed that I know I'm going to do that. And we will have that soon. But these kids need to learn how to speak. I mean, who knows? There's elementary kids out there that are at home right now and they're suffering, going through abuse. They're dreading to go home after school and they'd rather play outside at the school. That's what we did. I didn't want to go home. You know, I'd go to my friends, you know, my friend Erica, April, whoever, and we'd go play around. But usually it was my house. It was where everybody went to. Everybody went to mine. And we were there, you know, like I said, joking around, talking, laughing. And as it's like the fake smile and the happiness. And then as soon as all your friends leave, it's like the fear just comes in and you're like scared. And then at the same time, you have that disgust look and it's like, okay, my stepfather's coming home from work or he's here. And it's like, you know, and if he was there at home, we wouldn't even be there, because there was always something and he was always complaining about something all the time. I don't know if I think he felt like he owned me or something. And I feel like that's part of the trafficking, but I don't know, because he wouldn't give me things or anything like that. But I don't know if it's because of what he did that he felt he owned me. I don't know. You know, when I had a boyfriend, he just basically, I had journals like crazy, writing and writing and writing. And he literally, when he found them, he was literally reading through every paper, every journal that I had, because he read back some stuff. And he read back some stuff, not by looking at it, reading it. He read back some stuff like it stayed in his mind, like he remembered it. And I thought that was crazy, because it was the same day. And I'm like, God, he's that smart. If he's that smart, why didn't he put it to good use? But it's, I don't know, it's crazy. And he tore up all my stuff and started telling me stuff about a boyfriend that I wrote it about at the time. And I don't know, that kind of like freaked me out. It was scary. So he acted like he owned me, but oh well. So any other questions out there? Don't forget, guys, I have this tumbler for the raffle. So there you go. And you get a free book. So don't forget to send in your emails to eSuite132 and just put your first and last name and then just the word enter sweepstakes. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me. Bye.